I'm Father Vincent Capodanno's brother, Jim Capodanno, and it's an honor to be talking about Father Vincent. He was a great brother and a great Marine.
Hi, my name is Ellen Jones Washington. I'm the older sister of Ronald Russell Jones, who was killed in Vietnam on July 15, 1967.
My name is Joseph Torrey, and my brother was Thomas J. Torrey, Lance Corporal, United States Marine Corps. He was killed in Vietnam in 1967.
My name is Susan Palsick McKenna. I'm the baby sister of Ernie Palsick. This is my brother Ernie. This was the last day that we saw him. That was July 3rd, 1967.
My name is Catherine Tinney Rome, and I am here for my brother Donald W. Tinney Jr. His name is on that wall. He was killed in Vietnam April 14th, 1970. And I come to the Day of Remembrance ceremony every year.
Oh, I've been there every year. Every year, great bunch. Those the Tory brothers, that group is terrific, terrific. They have a lot of respect for the fellows in Vietnam. I think they're one of the best groups on the island.
I've lost track of the number of years. I think since they first, instituted it once we became on the mailing list, because I didn't always catch it. They would always have a little notice in the paper about it, but I didn't always see it. And then once they had my name on the mailing list, I think our family has attended every year.
I've attended the ceremony, the memorial service, every year since day one.
Oh, I would say really every year since its inception, and actually it was there, it was May 7th, 1988, I remember the date. We went there for the dedication of it. It was a long time coming, and it was just so beautiful, everything, and just brought back a flood of memories, of course, just going through all the different things that we had from Ernie and all, and we got to see other families, meet other families and all that, and that's what really made it extra special.
I think it's wonderful that they remember them. They remember the 84 that died, that were killed, and they keep their names alive. And it's just a great honor.
Oh, the ceremony, it makes me feel proud and happy and sad all at the same time. I think the veterans host that does this, I think they're wonderful. I've even written them a letter at one time to tell them how much it means and how much it meant to our family, because you've lost this person at such a young age. Ronnie was my youngest brother, and he was only 20 when he was killed. And it's like life is going on for the rest of us and for his friends, and then here's this group that doesn't let you forget that these young men went off to war at a very young age, and they're not forgotten.
And as time goes by, it's a sadness that stays with you because you go back to it. But at the same time, you're relieved of that pressure of holding it in, because the guys and the girls, Vietnam veterans, really help you in becoming a place where you could go as a brotherhood and sisterhood.
Oh, I'm so glad that they have it. I hope it continues, and thankfully it's been growing in numbers. It hasn't been dwindling down. It's every year that we go, my husband and I go, and I've started to bring my daughter now too. It's just so many people are going, and then you see younger and younger people too. But I said, after I'm gone, I said, you have to carry it on. You have to still remember.
It's amazing. In fact, every year it means more to me than the year before. As I get older, I realize the significance of this. And this chapter, such a great group of people, and they do this, but they do many, many, many other things in the community. And this just, every year, it gets people together to focus and remember and just honor these people. And I would also like to honor them because they're an amazing group of people.
Father Vincent was the type that He would never elaborate. He would never tell you. He came home one time, only one time he came home before he was killed. And he had all these, he was given all these medals and all. In combat, he never mentioned it. He never mentioned it. But the only thing is, he couldn't wait until he got back. His mind wasn't here. His mind was on the battlefield in Vietnam.
I think my brother would be pleased. I think that he would probably, if the situation were reversed, that he would be one that would also be going to this. I have another brother who is a little older. There's like a gap in ages between me and my brothers. 12 years between me and Ronnie, and it was 11 between the older brother of the two. And he had just come back from 3 years in the Navy as Ronnie was going in for the Vietnam War. And we've just had so many people in the service in my family, so definitely I'm sure that they would, you know, that Ronnie would be pleased that this is going on. And
Well, Tommy was a very loyal person. And I was 12 when he passed away, but I knew him very well. He was like my hero. I was his shadow. He was a loyal person and a very good friend. So I think that this would be right up his alley. I remember him riding home, and he would send his voice on the old reel-to-reels. And he would always remember them and say, they're not going to be forgotten. So I think it would be heartfelt by him, and he's probably looking down.
I think that they're all there. I think they're all there looking at it and saying, how beautiful. You did a good job. But it's very beautiful. Very beautiful. And every time that I go past, I always think and I thank God for the people that put it together.
Dancer. He was my bigger brother. He was 6 years older. He was an athlete. He played on the football team at Farrell. He played lots of sports. He was very tough. He worked out. And there was an age difference of 6 years, so I was always like, he was so big. And I don't know about the attention. It's very, very hard to say. However, being an athlete, he probably liked the center of attention to in some respects. He did make Advanced All-Stars, and he liked that. His pictures in the paper. So I think he would feel touched and honored by this. I know my mother would as well, and I come here for her every year.
Well, I think each year it gets better. It gets better each year. And they keep that corner property, they keep it up beautiful. And like I said before, they give a great honor to the 84. And each year we enjoy it more and more.
I think it's become better, and the reason I think it's become better is because it's more focused. In the beginning, now they acknowledge whatever politicians or civic leaders are there, but they're not invited to speak. So the focus is, like directed on, this is in remembrance of these, young men that have given their lives, and it stays there. It makes you feel very, very patriotic.
I don't really think it's changed that much, because the vets have always put in all their time and all their effort, and everyone who comes, it's like I said, it's just that one day becomes just the memory of a great big family. It's A1, top shelf from day one.
Well, they have the benches. I know that they came after and all, and they keep it so beautiful. They put all the little American flags around, and that just, it looks so festive and beautiful, and it's just always kept with beautiful flowers, and that's the way it should be. By them having that memorial on Staten Island, that all of Staten Island will know that our 84 boys died.
They've refined it. It's always been a very touching, moving, heartfelt ceremony. Over the years, and I've come to every single one, I have not missed one, they've refined it. They've gotten more, for lack of a better word, professional, although the ceremony was always a very honorable and well-done ceremony. But they've refined it. And as I said, for me, it gets more touching every year. And I think for them as well. I think there's more emotion on both sides every year.
It's a different generation. They, they don't know what war is, just except, what they read. And it's nice that they keep these programs going to enlighten them, to let them know and give them some history. I think it's a good idea to keep it up.
Well, my children were young. I have 3 sons, and they remember Ronnie, their Uncle Ronnie. And just the rest of the family remembers him just from the stories we tell. And I'm sure in all families it's the same thing. You talk about these people.
Well, I could speak from a personal standpoint. My nephew Thomas, who was my brother Johnny's son, he was actually born on the anniversary of my brother's death. And he was named after my brother, obviously. His name is Thomas Torrey. And he attended the ceremony this year. And he broke down and cried. They feel it through us, of course, and the stories, and they see the emotion in us and the love in us. So I think it's felt by them too, and they'll carry it on, hopefully.
I think it's great. It's a way to remember. When you remember a person, they live on. And I think it's also important to instill in younger people who don't know war. We have an all-volunteer army now. We did not have that during the Vietnam era. These guys, many of them, they had no choice. They were drafted, they went. I think it's important for the younger people to be aware of history. As Santayana said, if you don't know history, you're doomed to repeat it. And I think to keep their families' names alive, but also just the historical part of the war and what it meant. So I think that's great. And I see more young people every year, and I'm very gratified by that.
Well, like I said before, right. they're a great bunch of men, and they were all of them are combat men, and they have a lot of respect and love for Father Vincent, for the Medal of Honor, and they show it, and they have respect for the 84 that were killed. And like I said, I keep saying it over and over. It's a great honor and it's a great remembrance for the young people.
Only what I've said before, that I think it's wonderful that they do this. You can call on them like for any help. I had a flag that I had that after my parents died, it was like a small flag and it was folded, and they had it like in a plastic case. And then like last year, I decided to put this in a regular case, the flag case. Mm-hmm. And so, we asked them, can you help us? I said, I think it's folded incorrectly. Mm-hmm. And so they said, well, just bring it, and I did. And then Danny contacts my son and tells him that actually this was not the flag that comes from the coffin. It was like probably another flag that my parents had. But they told me how to go about getting a replacement flag, and they folded it for me. It's in the box. They also informed me of all the different medals, that he should have, and I think I had given them the box with the medals, but I didn't know what they, other than the Purple Heart, I didn't know what the other ones, signified. And Danny made me a list of all the medals, and we see that one was missing. And then he told me how to contact, the agency to get that. They're just, if you need anything, any assistance at all, I can't praise them enough.
Yeah, I'd like to say something about the vets themselves. As I stated before, when I went to the first meeting, the opening meeting of Chapter 421, it was like I knew all of these people my whole life. And I was scared because I hadn't talked about it. There was nobody to talk to let my feelings be released and known. And when I walked into that meeting, it was, if memory serves me correctly, there was well over 100 people. I'm not a vet. And it may have been Mary, and she She grabbed my face and she said, "Oh, yes, you are." And although I wasn't there, that made me feel good. Because what she was saying was, "You're part of our family." So I love them all.
After my brother's death, there were so many boys dying and all, and my mother and father and I, and sometimes my other brother and sister, they would come too. We would go to different ceremonies that they would have on Staten Island, and I remember actually meeting Mr. and Mrs. Torrey. They had lost their son, and I know that the chapter is named after him. He was a Marine, and I because of the memorial on Staten Island on Manor Road, I actually have gotten to see their family over the years, and Mrs. Torrey too, and I still remember her because I recognized her, even when I was a young kid. I still remember her, and it gave me that chance and to remember her. Just always heartbreaking, but always so nice because of the Vietnam Memorial on Staten Island. You can get to see the families over and over again, and another one that I've gotten to see is the O'Connor family. I see the sister every year, and it's just like she's a sister, I'm a sister, and we just remember our brothers. But because of that, we get to see the families. That's the main thing. I'm so happy for that they have it every year, and they have the special day of remembrance. So
I wish the whole world knew what an amazing, amazing group of people they are. They came home and they dedicated themselves to remembering those who did not come home. They turned around a horrible event in their lives and their families' lives, and I know it affects them to this day, and they have decided and followed through on always remembering those who did not return with the monuments at the schools, reaching out to the community, everything they do, helping Project Homefront. I can't even express how much I love these people. They're an amazing, amazing group. I tell them, but I don't think they really know how amazing they are.